Very recently, the Constitution 130th Amendment Bill has been introduced in the lower house of parliament, that is Lok Sabha.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah has lashed out at opposition parties over their protests against the recently proposed 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill.
किसी भी केस में हाई कोर्ट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट को जमानत देने का अधिकार है। अगर जमानत नहीं मिलती है तो आपको पद छोड़ना पड़ेगा। क्या कोई मुख्यमंत्री, कोई प्रधानमंत्री या कोई मंत्री जेल में रहकर सरकार चला सकता है क्या? इस देश के लोकतंत्र के लिए शोभा रूप है क्या?
And also subsequently, because of a lot of uproar from the opposition parties and a lot of controversy surrounding it, the bill has now been referred to Joint Parliamentary Committee. Now, if we talk about this bill in particular, it is very much related to criminalization in politics. And also, it seeks to amend three prominent articles of our constitution, that is Article 75, Article 164 and Article 239AA. It also deals with the Union Council of Ministers, the State Council of Ministers and special provisions in relation to Union Territory of Delhi, or so to say National Capital Territory of Delhi. Now, if I have to summarize this bill in one line, it basically removes the ministers who get jail term. It simply means that the ministers who would be given jail sentence or ministers who are in jail for heinous criminal offences, for serious offences, would be out of their office. Now, what is this bill all about? Why this bill has been introduced at this critical juncture? What is the significance of this particular bill? Why there is so much uproar and opposition to this particular bill, and all the other things around this we'll be trying to understand in this particular session. Hello, my name is Preetpal Singh and you're watching Perspective. See, when we talk about criminalization in Indian politics, we have to understand it is not a new issue. It is a very old issue, plus it's a very deep-rooted issue as well. Association for Democratic Reforms, ADR, says that the number of people or number of candidates with criminal charges being elected to the Parliament of India, the lawmaking body, the beacon of democracy in India, has been on rise since the year 2004. That means every subsequent Lok Sabha elections, the number of candidates having criminal cases against them increases and rises further and further. If we have to look into perspective, the 2009 Lok Sabha members, out of all the members of the Lok Sabha, around 30% of the parliamentarians had criminal cases pending against them. The very next Lok Sabha 2014, the number increased to 34%. And when we see in 2019, around 43% of the 543 Lok Sabha members are facing criminal charges. And not just this, in this 2019 Lok Sabha, which was made, around 112 member of parliaments have faced serial criminal charges, which includes charges like rape, murder, attempt to murder, kidnapping, crime against women, and some other types of crimes as well. This simply makes us question that what is the reason for this increased criminalization of politics? The reason is just simple one: the nexus between politicians, corrupt people, criminals, and bureaucrats. Because of vicious cycle, the nexus between them, many people from criminal, they become politicians. The use of muscle power is there, the use of money power is there, and also weak law enforcement and judicial system of the country also adds to the situation and worsens the situation even further. Now, while we understand this criminalization politics is such a big issue, a bill recently has been introduced in the Lok Sabha, which has now been sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. It is a Constitution 130th Amendment Bill. Now, this bill introduces a mechanism to remove the ministers who are in jail for serious heinous offences, which means there are provisions under the bill. So the first provision of it simply says that if a minister is arrested and is held in custody for 30 days or more, or 30 consecutive days, for an offence which is punishable with 5 years or more imprisonment, they will lose their position. Simple. They will lose their position as a minister if such type of case and such type of imprisonment is being given to that particular minister. Now, second prominent feature is in relation to who would be promulgating this. So the Honorable President of India, on the advice of the Chief Minister, must remove the minister within 31st day or after 31st day of the custody. But the question is, what if the state governments or the Chief Minister, they fail to give such advice? In that case, after the expiry of 30 days period, the ministry would automatically cease to hold the office. Also, one more important thing is there, that the bill also talks about reinstatement of that particular candidate after the minister is released from the custody. So which means till the time the minister is in custody for 30 days consecutively and for a crime which carries 5 years or more of imprisonment, in that case, the minister would be removed from his or her position. That is what is a part of this particular bill. So the question is why this is being done now. See, in any moral, pluralistic, democratic society, what is very important is to maintain constitutional morality and also to ensure that the ministers who are accused of any serious criminal offense or serious heinous offense, it may lead to compromise in constitutional morality, it may lead to erosion of good governance, it may lead to erosion of public trust on that particular organization as well, if such kind of practices are found to be part of one particular organization. So if I have to highlight the significance of this bill in 4 to 5 different points, I can very simply say that it helps in building the constitutional morality, it helps in protecting the trust, it helps in building good governance, and it will help in bridging the legal gap which have been unaddressed, the issue which have been unaddressed in different other legislations which have been made earlier. So simply it helps in bringing accountability to the elected political representatives who have been elected by the votes of the public, who have been getting salary from the money given by the public from the taxpayers' funds, and who have been taking decisions totally against the public. But then the logical question arises is that why so many political parties or different quarters of the society are against this particular bill? The first very big challenge is that the presumption of innocence has been undetermined, which means this bill allows removal based on detention, not conviction, which contradicts the principle of innocent until proven guilty. So even if a person is convicted, until unless the person is proved to be guilty, even then also the innocent won't be treated innocent, the innocent would be treated guilty. Which is why, if this power comes in the hands of the government, that an innocent can also be treated as guilty, then in that case, there's a lot of scope of political misuse by certain vested interests in the society in different parts of our country. And also many people argue that this bill weakens, threatens the autonomy of the state governments and also centralizes power to an extent. Now, this particular bill is very much contradictory to the earlier existing laws which we have already seen. One is Section 8 of RP Act of 1951, Representations of People's Act of 1951, a very integral section, a very integral act. And it simply said that legislatures would be disqualified if there is an imprisonment of up to more than 2 years. So upon conviction or sentence of at least 2 years, in that case the legislatures are disqualified. Now, since we know in great depth of detail about this particular bill, we have known the positives as well, we have known the negatives as well. One question which might be lingering in your mind is what is this Constitutional Amendment Bill? See, Constitutional Amendment Bill is nothing but a constitutional proposal which is introduced under Article 368 of our Indian Constitution to modify certain provisions of Indian Constitution. Basically, the bill which is intended to modify the provisions of the Constitution, like changes in the structure of the government, changes in the electoral processes, or changes in the fundamental rights as well. Also, one more important thing is that for this bill to be passed in the Parliament, it requires a special majority, that is 2/3 of the members present and voting in each house of the Parliament. However, certain times amendment in these type of bills also requires ratification by the state governments as well. So ratification by the half of the state legislature. If they affect the federal procedure like distribution of powers between center and state, then the order, the opinion and the ratification by half of the state legislature is also required. And as I've already told you that this particular constitution bill has been sent to Joint Parliamentary Committee. Now, Joint Parliamentary Committee, as you would all know, it's an ad hoc body which is formed to examine complex and controversial judgments and dissolve them by submitting their reports. Now, that is the purpose of a joint parliamentary committee, which comprises of the members from both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now, typically this committee includes 31 members, around 21 from Lok Sabha, 10 from Rajya Sabha, though they may vary. And the task of this committee is very simple, that to scrutinize clause by clause, gather expert opinion, and after it sends the report to the parliament. I would also need to understand one more thing, that while these recommendations are invaluable, they are very important, they are expert oriented, they are influential as well, but they are not binding on the government in whatsoever manner made possible. Which is why we should not be over enthusiastic when they say that it is going to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. Eventually, the majority has its own way of doing particular things. I hope you gained a new perspective about this particular Constitutional Amendment Bill from this session. Do let me know what your views around this particular issue, and I'll be happy to read them. All the best. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.